Hello everyone. Today's lecture deals with the environmental pollution and its various sources that are responsible for its degradation. The Earth is the only object known in the entire universe capable of supporting life. Pollution is the effect of undesirable changes in our surroundings that have harmful effects on plants, animals and human beings. It has become increasingly evident that pollution is affecting the vegetation to the same extent as it is affecting human and animal lives. For our better living standards, we need clean air, pure water, nutritious food, etc., which are the basic amenities for life. But the quality of air, water and soil is likely to deteriorate because of population explosions, rapid industrialization and urbanization. Environmental pollution and human efforts for the betterment of living standards are the two sides of the same coin. Awareness and study of all these facets are highly crucial and need of the hour, especially among the student community. Let us understand the following terms before we proceed further in this episode. Pollutant is as any physical, chemical or biological agent that in its sheer presence has impact on environment that makes a particular resource useless for its designated use, and the term pollution is a situation where pollutants bring undesirable changes in the environment. The sources of any pollutant are the result of natural sources and anthropogenic or man-made sources, affecting on flora, fauna and on materials. The control measures or strategies are to tackle the situation depend on the approaches and control technology that are involved. The subject expert is Mrs. B. Vidya Kaumudini, an environmentalist who taught environmental sciences in Andhra University and in Amity University, Noida. She presented several papers in national and international seminars. And I am Sakshi Mandwal. This lecture is divided into two parts. Part 1 deals with air pollution, sources and its control strategies. Water pollution, sources and control strategies. Soil pollution, sources and control strategies. Part 2 of this lecture deals with marine pollution, noise pollution, thermal pollution and nuclear hazards. Air pollution. Air pollution may be broadly defined as the presence of one or more contaminants like dust, smoke, mist, odor in the atmosphere which are injurious to human beings, plants and animals, or which unreasonably obstruct life and property. Air pollution may be described as the imbalance in quality of air so as to cause adverse effects on the living organisms on Earth. Composition of air. The atmosphere is composed of 79% nitrogen, 20% oxygen and 1% as a mixture of carbon dioxide, water vapor and trace amounts of several other noble gases. Atmosphere is a gaseous envelope surrounding the Earth which constitutes major gases like nitrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide, minor gases like helium and trace gases sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane. Based on temperature changes, air environment is divided into 4 segments. They are troposphere with altitudinal range of 0 to 11 kilometers, stratosphere, altitudinal range of 11 to 50 kilometers in which ozone layer is present, mesosphere ranging from 50 to 85 kilometers and ionosphere spreading from 85 to 100 kilometers. Types of air pollutants. Air pollutants are of 2 types, primary and secondary pollutants based on the source. The primary pollutants are directly emitted from the source, for example, sulfur dioxide, SO2, carbon dioxide, CO2, nitrogen dioxide, NO2, volatile organic compounds, particulate matter, etc. The secondary pollutants are resulted from environmental reactions. For example, nitrate ion, NO3, sulfuric acid, H2SO4, carbonic acid, etc. The particulate matter includes aerosols, mist, dust, smoke, fumes, fog and smog. Major sources of air pollution. Sources of air pollutants are the substances causing damage to animals, plants, building materials which are adversely affected by pollutants. These include both the natural and man-made sources. Natural sources are the result of volcanic eruptions that emit poisonous gases such as sulfur dioxide, SO2, hydrogen sulfide, H2S, carbon monoxide, CO, etc. Forest fires resulting in hydrogen sulfide, H2S, methane, CH-04, etc. Due to evapotranspiration process and oxidation process, which is a natural photochemical reaction. Man-made sources or anthropogenic sources include population explosion releasing greenhouse gases, GHGs, thereby resulting in global warming, deforestation, which creates imbalance of carbon dioxide, CO2, and oxygen, O2 levels in the nature. Burning of fossil fuels that results in combustion process, emissions from transportation sector, photochemical smog, rapid industrialization such as power plants, smelters, refineries, etc. Agricultural activities involving pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, etc. Effects of air pollutants. The entire sources of air pollutants pose deleterious effects on the environment at both micro and macro levels in human beings, plants and animals. The World Health Organization, WHO, which rates only megacities of the world, has rated Delhi the 4th most polluted city in the world. Our country has several pollution hotspots. The recent release from the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, Ahmedabad's air is the most noxious city, followed by Kanpur, Solapur and Lucknow, with particulate matter levels of 10 PM10, which is 3 to 4 times the standard of 60 microgram per cubic meter, mg by m3. The Supreme Court also played a vital role in protecting the Taj Mahal, which is being exposed to sulfur dioxide and suspended particulate matter. The Taj had contracted marble cancer, a fungal growth that corroded its surface, giving it a yellowish tinge. The detailed effects of air pollutants can be understood in the following table. Gaseous pollutants effects. Carbon dioxide, CO2, traps the heat in the atmosphere, resulting in global warming. Carbon monoxide, that is CO, is harmful to humans as it affects respiration, cardiac and pulmonary functions. Oxides of sulfur, SOx. Due to these gases, acid rains are resulted that wash away nutrients, affects leaves, that is necrosis. These gases affect humans, causing bronchitis, emphysema and psychological disorders. These also have an effect on the materials, causing stone leprosy. Sulfuric acid, H2SO4, corrodes on marble monuments. Oxides of nitrogen, NOx, are toxic, produce irritating effects, affects lungs, that is bronchitis and emphysema. These gases also decrease the photosynthetic activity in plants, causing chlorosis. Hydrocarbons react with nitrogen monoxide, NO, to form secondary pollutants resulting in photochemical smog. Particulate pollutants include fumes, dust, smoke, etc. They are toxic in the form of mist, causes chronic non-specific diseases. Aerosols are air pollutants, remain suspended in air, harmful to the environment. Radioactive pollutants. These result in the cellular damage in man and animals. Control strategies. Air pollution can be controlled by two fundamental approaches. They are preventive techniques and effluent control. The control of air pollution includes the following steps. Pollution due to nitrogen oxides, NOx, can be controlled by catalytic decomposition and scrubbing process, which will help in removal of these oxides. Discharge of gaseous pollutants can be done by building high smokestack called vents. Control of pollution due to oxides of sulfur (SOx) can be done by the removal of sulfur from fuel before burning and using sorption methods. Control of carbon monoxide (CO) pollution can be achieved by using the exhaust gas analyzers to check emissions. Vehicular pollution can be controlled by upgrading fuel quality and by using catalytic converters. Control of hydrocarbons is done by the process of incineration, adsorption, absorption, and condensation. Particulate matter can be controlled by using cyclones, electrostatic precipitators, filters, etc. in industries. Promoting reforestation programs is highly recommended to curb air pollution. Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. The objects of this act is to provide information for the prevention, control and abatement of air pollution, for the establishment with a view to carry out the aforesaid purposes of boards, for conferring on and assigning to such boards powers and functions relating thereto, and for matters connected therewith. Decisions were taken at the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment held in Stockholm in June 1972, in which India participated to take appropriate steps for the preservation of the natural resources of the earth, which among other things includes the preservation of the quality of air and control of air pollution. Legal aspects of air pollution control in India include the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act that was legislated in 1981. In areas notified under this Act, no industrial pollution causing activity could come up without the permission of the concerned State Pollution Control Board. But this Act was not strong enough to play a precautionary or a corrective role. Water pollution. Water is an essential constituent of all life systems. Over 80% of the Earth's surface is covered by water in the form of relatively pure liquid in lakes and rivers, as a dilute salt solution in oceans, or as nearly pure solid in snowfields, glaciers and the polar ice caps. Water is considered as elixir of life, as the properties or characteristics such as density, polarity, capillarity and surface tension of water are responsible for the fact that water is an excellent solvent. Water pollution is defined as the alteration of physical, chemical and biological characteristics of water, resulting in harmful effects on life systems. Water is the essential element that makes life on Earth possible. Without water, there would be no life. Although 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water only, a tiny fraction of this water is available to us as fresh water. About 97% of the total water available on Earth is found in oceans and is too salty for drinking or irrigation. The remaining 3% is fresh water. Of this, 2.997% is locked in ice caps or glaciers. Thus, only 0.003% of the Earth's total volume of water is easily available to us as soil moisture, groundwater, water vapor, and water in lakes, streams, rivers, and wetlands. Types of water pollution. The accelerated pace of development, rapid industrialization and population density have increased the demand of water resources. When the quality or composition of water changes directly or indirectly as a result of man's activities such that it becomes unfit for any purpose, it is said to be polluted. Groundwater pollution. This is due to industrial, domestic and agricultural wastes that are responsible for the contamination of groundwater, which have a profound effect on life systems, resulting in various waterborne diseases such as typhoid, jaundice, dysentery, diarrhea, tuberculosis and hepatitis. While oil spills are highly visible and often get a lot of media attention, a much greater threat to human life also comes from our groundwater being polluted, which is used for drinking and irrigation. While groundwater is easy to deplete and pollute, it gets renewed very slowly. Hence, it must be used judiciously. Surface water pollution. It is because of the surface water when it comes in direct contact with the atmosphere, seasonal, streams, rivulets, surface drains, pollution takes place. In the polluted surface waters, the ions sodium, Na+, potassium K+, magnesium Mg+, etc. interact, forming a variety of complexes, thereby deteriorating the quality of surface water. Contamination of water results in deleterious effects on life system. Lake, river and sea water pollution is due to the discharge of organic waste from hills, and toxic effluents from urban areas pollute the lakes to such an extent that fish mortality is increasing at an alarming rate. Saltation of lakes is due to the dumping of enormous quantities of sediments, which is a major source of lake water pollution. Sources. Major sources of water pollution are divided into natural and man-made sources. There are several classes of common water pollutants. These are disease-causing agents, pathogens that enter water from domestic sewage and untreated human and animal waste. Human waste contain concentrated populations of coliform bacteria such as Escherichia coli and Streptococcus faecalis. Other potentially harmful bacteria from human waste may also be present in smaller numbers. Thus, the greater the amount of waste in the water, the greater is the chances of contracting diseases from them. The natural sources include siltation, eutrophisation process, floods and cyclones. Man-made sources include the following: sewage and domestic waste that contain toxic and decomposable organic matter and household waste that are harmful, toxic metals, these include mercury, lead, cadmium, arsenic, iron, etc. Industrial effluents are hazardous compounds that have phenols, aldehydes, ketones, amines, metallic waste, dyes, cyanides, toxic acids, etc. Agricultural discharges include the fertilizers, herbicides, insecticides, etc. Detergents and pesticides also pollute the water resources. Accidental oil spills from large transport tankers at sea have been causing significant environmental damage. Accidents such as the Exxon Valdez got worldwide attention, and much more oil is released as a result of other small, regular releases from other less visible sources. Classification of water pollutants can be understood by the following table. Type of water pollutant. Examples: oxygen-demanding waste. These are the human and animal waste, decaying vegetation, etc. Infectious agents include bacteria and viruses. Organic molecules. These are the detergents, oils, insecticides that pollute the water bodies. Plant nutrients include the nitrates, phosphates, inorganic chemicals, are mercury, cadmium, lead, etc. Heat. The water used for cooling in industry produces heat. Suspended materials. These are due to silt from land erosion. Radioactive substances means the radioactive waste. Effects. Sewage and domestic waste affect human health, resulting in diseases such as cholera, typhoid and dysentery. Industrial discharges contain lead, arsenic, mercury, cadmium, etc., which pose deleterious impacts in life systems. Lead damages the liver and kidney. Arsenic causes lung cancer, ulcers in gastrointestinal tract. Cadmium leads to diarrhea, kidney cysts, bone deformation, etc. Mercury results in neurological disorders. Agricultural discharges include fertilizers, pesticides, which are toxic to both aquatic and human life. Control strategies. The foremost necessity is prevention. Setting up effluent treatment plants and treating wastewater through this major part can reduce the pollution load in the recipient water. The treated effluent can be reused for either gardening or cooling purposes wherever possible. The control strategies of water pollution include the following measures. Constructing the sewage treatment plants to treat wastewater addresses the problem. Integrated approach and organic farming practices also tend to reduce the pollution. Ideal maintenance of plants upkeep in industries. The role of enforcing agencies, management and legislation by central pollution control boards play a vital role to curb the water pollution. Following the water treatment processes that include primary and secondary treatment can resolve the problem. The primary treatment involves coagulation and flocculation methods, and the secondary treatment involves disinfection process. Information dissemination through sensitization programs is an essential strategy. Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. The objective of this act, as stated in the preamble, is to provide for the prevention and control of water pollution and for the maintenance or restoration of wholesomeness of water through establishments of water boards. This act follows the command and control with Pollution Control Board as the nodal agencies for its effective implementation. The government has formulated this act in 1974 to be able to prevent pollution of water by industrial, agricultural and household wastewater that can contaminate our water sources. The board lays down or modifies the rule in consultation with the state boards on standards of disposal of waste. Laboratories have been established to enable the board to perform its functions. Soil pollution. Soil is the uppermost weathered layer of Earth's crust and is a significant ecological factor in the sustenance of biosphere. Soil is a resource for which there is no substitute. The soil is a thin covering over the parent material. This includes the mechanical weathering of rocks due to temperature changes and abrasion, wind, moving water, glaciers, chemical weathering activities and lichens. Climate and time are important in the development of soil arranged in series of zones called soil horizons. Each horizon has a distinct texture and composition that vary with different types of soils. O horizon. It is a top layer or surface litter layer. A horizon. This is the uppermost layer of the soil called humus. B horizon is the subsoil and C horizon includes the weathered parent material. The microorganisms present in soil include soil bacteria, fungi, soil algae, nematodes, insects, arachnids, earthworms, etc., which play a dominant role in the functioning of the entire terrestrial ecosystem. Soil pollution involves accumulation on land and of the substances in the dispersed solid or liquid form that are injurious to life and ecosystems. Both inorganic matter, that is phosphorus and nitrogen containing fertilizers, and organic matter, that is fertilizers, pesticides, influence its physical, chemical and biological properties. This has been highlighted in the case of agrochemicals that are widely used in modern agriculture practice and persistent pesticides, dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane, DDT and insecticides. Though they are spread for the purpose of exterminating pests, they accumulate to the extent that they can do damage to many other forms of life. The problem of pesticide accumulation arises because the microorganisms in soil are not capable of degrading many of them at rates sufficiently high to prevent soil and water pollution. Soil can be polluted not only by materials directly applied to it, deliberately or by land spreading of waste, but even by toxic materials present in the atmosphere brought down by precipitation. In turn, pollutants from land are carried by water flowing over it or percolating through it. The pollutants that affect soil and water include sediments, plant nutrients, inorganic salts and minerals, organic waste, infectious agents, industrial and agricultural chemicals. Sources of soil pollution. Soil erosion or pollution occurs due to natural causes such as volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, landslides, dust storms, etc., as well as due to human habitation, construction and agriculture and overgrazing, mining, industrial and transportation activities. Though soil erosion cannot be classified as pollution, it is a type of damage that has several repercussions. The process can be enhanced by human activities such as inappropriate cultivation and crop management, overgrazing, deforestation and construction activity. Soil receives huge quantities of waste products each year, mostly sulfates and nitrates. Erosion has two aspects. It removes soil from where it is, perhaps best required, and deposits it at sites like watercourses where it becomes pollution. Loss of agricultural soil by erosion can affect farm profitability. Erosion may increase as a result of climate change. Increased temperature and reduced moisture content are likely to lead to loss of carbon from the soil, making them erode faster. Climate and geological features add to soil erosion and pollution. Sediments such as clay, silt, sand, minerals and other particles, debris, leaves, grass and vegetation due to stream runoff and soil erosion are transported via water systems. Sediment is a resource out of place whose dual effect is to deplete the land from which came and impair the quality of the water it enters. Suspended sediment impairs the dissolved oxygen balance in water. Bacteria are mainly found in sediments. They are dependent on the content of organic substances and the particle size of the sediment. The smaller the particle size, the higher the bacterial counts. Natural sources of soil pollution include the following: soil erosion due to wind, flowing water that causes the movement of surface litter, and topsoil from one place to another, resulting in loss of topsoil. Volcanic eruptions also release enormous amounts of pollutants when they erupt. Earthquakes massively carry large amounts of pollutants depending on their intensity. Man-made sources of soil pollution include the following: overgrazing by livestock tends to the loss of various soil layers. Deforestation activity decreases the fertility of the soil. Industrial wastes contaminate the soil to a large extent. Urban wastes obviously pose deleterious threat to the soil environment. Agricultural wastes get mixed up with the fertile soil, resulting in soil degradation. Excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides also tends to release of obnoxious gases. Radioactive wastes harm the soil. Mining, constructions, building operations and power generation installations add considerable amount of particulate matter and radioactive waste, causing the degradation of soil. Effects and control of soil pollution. The soil pollutants affect and alter the chemical and biological properties of the soil. As a result, these toxic elements enter into human food chain from soil or water and finally pose deleterious effects on living organisms, which is referred to as biomagnification process. The effects include the loss of topsoil makes a soil less fertile and reduces its water holding capacity. Soil pollutants lead to salinization, that is accumulation of salts in the topsoil. Leachate formation due to mining activities results in groundwater contamination. Contaminants affect soil quality, reducing its fertility and crop yields and damaging ecosystems dependent on soil. Acidification of soil due to pollutant gases like sulfur dioxide, SO2, and oxides of nitrogen, NOx, is another phenomenon becoming more common in recent times. Acidification of minerals in the soil and mining lactates can release metals like aluminium, which damage plants, for example by affecting fine root systems. Soil acidification leads to acidification of water, causing damage to aquatic systems. In addition to direct health and environmental problems, land contamination can cause economic and financial damage. Control strategies. Proper soil conservation measures are used to minimize the loss of topsoil. There are several techniques that can protect soil from erosion. Today, both water and soil are conserved through integrated treatment methods. The control strategies for soil pollutants include the following: construction of check dams or rock-fill dams. Trenches are used to enhance infiltration of water, reduce the runoff and check soil erosion. Organic farming results in reducing soil pollutants to a great extent. Integrated pest management practices are followed to decrease soil contamination. Soil conservation measures include the area treatment and drainage line treatment methods. Sustainable farming practices are the eco-friendly strategies to curb pollution. Therefore, we can no more manufacture a soil with a tank of chemicals than we can invent a rainforest or produce a single bird. We may enhance the soil by helping its processes along, but we can never recreate what we destroy. The soil is a resource for which there is no substitute. Role of an individual in prevention of pollution. Pollution prevention describes activities that reduce the amount of pollution generated by a process, whether it is consumer consumption, driving, or industrial production. In contrast to the most pollution control strategies, which seek to manage a pollutant after it is formed and reduce its impact upon the environment, the pollution prevention approach seeks to increase the efficiency of a process, thereby reducing the amount of pollution generated at its source. Although there is a wide agreement that source reduction is the preferred strategy, some professionals also use the term pollution prevention to include recycling or reuse. As an environmental management strategy, pollution prevention shares many attributes with cleaner production. Pollution prevention encompasses more specialized sub-disciplines including green chemistry and green design, also known as environmentally conscious design. When most people hear the word pollution, they immediately conjure up images of billowing smokestacks, massive pipes pouring green slime into pristine waterways, and rusting barrels of toxic sludge. However, a substantial portion of the environmental pollution people experience every day originates from small-scale sources that can add up quickly, such as automobile exhaust, the electricity used for home heating and lighting, the water used for house cleaning and sanitation, as well as common household chemicals. Individuals are often able to lessen those effects and still live in comfort and safety. As a matter of fact, applying pollution prevention methods around the house can substantially reduce utility bills, create a healthier home setting, improve the quality of the yard and other surroundings, and potentially increase the value of the home. Education and awareness is at an all-time high, so everyone is aware of the importance of making our world pollution-free. Role of government and public is equally essential for pollution prevention. Governmental role for pollution prevention. The government's role for the prevention of pollution is a very strong one. The government has set standards, created regulations, and helped to greatly reduce pollution in the country. This includes the passing of the Pollution Prevention Act of 1990, which was a major stepping stone in prevention of pollution, setting the country in the right direction to really stop pollution and prevent its occurrence in the future. Additionally, they have helped other nations to develop their own methods for prevention of pollution. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, plays a very large role in the prevention of pollution. The EPA is the main regulator of businesses and other sources of pollutants. Business role in pollution prevention. Industrial pollution accounts for a very large percentage of pollution. The role of companies in pollution prevention, therefore, is very important. The cooperation of businesses helps to ensure that this segment is greatly reducing or eliminating pollution that they cause. Business pollution has a widespread effect. Generally, the pollution is quite harmful, involving harmful substances. It can also be something that may seem less harmless, like smoke, which contributes to smog. Smog is a horrible air pollution that has severe health effects. Industries can help in the prevention of pollution through following regulations and laws about waste disposal and using operation methods that are proven to reduce or eliminate pollution. Individual role for pollution prevention. Individuals often think there is little they can do to combat a global problem like pollution. However, the role of individuals in the prevention of pollution has a great impact on the overall picture. When every individual does their part, it can add up quickly. The move towards the use of hybrid vehicles and alternative gasoline may have prompted more by the price of fuel than the concern over pollution. But this trend has greatly helped reduce vehicle emissions, which can cause pollution of the air, water and soil. Any little effort an individual takes to stop polluting is helpful. Not littering, not dumping waste in unauthorized areas and buying energy-efficient appliances are all examples of how an individual can help in the prevention of pollution. Many individuals who have plans for either building a new house or remodeling their current home have incorporated pollution prevention measures in both the design of the home and the selection of the materials used in the job. Contractors can provide either recycled building supplies or safer, healthier insulation materials. Ventilation specialists can offer options that can improve energy efficiency and reduce indoor air pollution. When selecting electrical appliances such as refrigerators, computers and televisions for the new home, people can shop for devices that outline their energy consumption needs or carry a seal of approval such as Energy Star. These selections reduce energy output and utility costs, as well as cutting down on the resources needed to maintain the required electricity levels. Some other common household tasks can be adapted to employ pollution prevention techniques. The use of paints, paint solvents, and wood varnishes can produce potentially hazardous chemicals that can affect both air and water quality. Such materials should be used in well-ventilated areas as to prevent compromising indoor air quality. These chemicals should also be stored in suitable containers to prevent the emission of fumes and to stop potential leakage into the surrounding soil or groundwater. Similar precautions are also typically exercised when using other household chemicals such as cleaning supplies, fertilizers, and pesticides. One of the leading sources of individual pollution is also one of the most indispensable items in modern society, the automobile. Inadequate or poorly performed vehicle maintenance can lead to oil leaks, fuel inefficiencies, and more toxic exhaust gases, each of which can be costly both to the environment and to the car owner's finances. Some pollution prevention steps in this arena can include regular oil changes and tune-ups, tire pressure checks, and proper disposal of waste fluids. 1 gallon of motor oil can pollute up to 1,000,000 gallons of fresh water, enough water to sustain 50 people for an entire year. Not only is improper disposal of waste oil considered environmentally irresponsible, it is also illegal in many jurisdictions. Thus, the problem of pollution is not small. It is something that requires a massive effort and a holistic approach to solve. Without the work of leaders, businesses, and individuals, the pollution problem will continue to grow without an end in sight. Fortunately, solutions are numerous and there is a lot of work on all levels for the prevention of pollution. Education and awareness is at an all-time high so that everyone is aware of the importance of making our world pollution-free. Hope you all like this episode. We will continue this topic in the part 2 of the next episode. Till the next time, it's a goodbye. Thank you.